Ayase and Okarun find themselves back at the dreaded tunnel where Turbo Granny first possessed Okarun. Despite their bravado, both hesitate, the tunnel's eerie atmosphere intensifying their fear. After arguing about who should go in first, they reluctantly form a truce and enter side by side, though the bickering continues as they accuse each other of lagging behind. Suddenly, Ayase's flashlight reveals a grotesque sight, a colossal Turbo Granny head blocking the way. Okarun panics, but Ayase clings to their plan to escape Shono City, where Turbo Granny's powers are strongest. However, when they turn around, another massive Turbo Granny head looms behind them, cutting off their escape. The two heads close in, their grotesque smiles widening. Acting fast, Ayase levitates 4 baseball bats from Okarun's bag and hurls them at one of the heads, but its eyes transform into gaping mouths that swallow the bats whole. Okarun urges Ayase to lift the curse suppressing his powers so he can fight back. But before he can act, Turbo Granny reclaims the curse entirely, rendering him powerless. Ayase, using her spiritual senses, confirms the curse is gone. Turbo Granny mocks them, accusing them of stealing her power, and the heads lunge forward with their gaping mouth. Remembering her grandmother's advice, Ayase taunts Turbo Granny into a race, insulting her pride and daring her to compete. The ghost, enraged, shrinks back into her usual petite form, snarling at the provocation. Convinced she'll win, Turbo Granny accepts the challenge, setting bizarre rules designed to give her an edge. However, she quickly cheats, trapping Ayase in an encasing of grotesque, shape-shifting hands. Okarun desperately tries to break Ayase free, but Turbo Granny atop the prison mocks his efforts before lunging for him. Summoning his courage, Okarun tackles Turbo Granny and bites her chest, using sheer determination to hold on. The ghost, weakened by his traditional attire, struggles to break free and opts to possess him instead. Now in control of Okarun's body, she begins tearing at his protective clothing to weaken him further, suspecting a sorcerer might be aiding him. Inside her encasement, Ayase channels her spiritual powers and breaks free, mastering her abilities without sight. She uses telekinesis to crush Turbo Granny's true form within Okarun's body, forcing the ghost to retreat. Turbo Granny, now reduced to a snake, clings to Okarun in a humiliating state. Their relief is short-lived as a deep, guttural voice booms through the tunnel. "Give Granny back!" The walls collapse as a massive crab spirit barrels through, summoned by Turbo Granny. Ayase explains the folklore behind its form, connecting it to the dead crossing the river Styx. Okarun, tapping into Turbo Granny's powers, transforms and races through Shono City with Ayase on his back. Their escape is chaotic, involving a near fall off a mountainside, a brief helicopter-like maneuver using Okarun's spinning legs, and a crash landing that leaves them bruised and drained. Before they can recover, a mob of possessed townsfolk, summoned from a nearby cemetery, blocks their path. Turbo Granny, still within her territory, mocks them from the sideline. Ayase pushes through the mob with her telekinesis, while Okarun carries her at breakneck speed. When the crab catches up, Ayase hurls objects to slow it down, including a car, which she uses as a makeshift launching pad to propel them forward. Cornered again, Ayase grabs a passing train, pulling Okarun aboard. With the train speeding toward the city border, they hope to escape Turbo Granny's territory. However, the fused Turbo Granny Crab hybrid leaps onto the train, forcing Ayase to fight her off. Ayase reveals this was part of her plan. Her grandmother waits at the city border, where protective talismans and warding nails have been placed. As they cross the border, the talismans activate, triggering a massive blue explosion that destroys both Turbo Granny and the crab spirit. In the aftermath, Ayase sees spectral forms of young girls flying in the remnants of the explosion. Her grandmother later explains these girls were victims of brutal murders in the tunnel. Turbo Granny, despite her vengeful actions, had consoled their spirits, giving them some semblance of peace. Moved, Ayase prays for the girls and reflects on the complex coexistence between the living and the dead. That evening, Okarun joins Ayase and her grandmother for a crab dinner. While the two women squabble over crab meat, Okarun struggles to eat, his appetite ruined by their recent ordeal. As he leaves, Ayase's simple farewell, "See you tomorrow," carries a weight of reassurance. The episode ends with Okarun smiling, touched by the unspoken promise of their enduring friendship. And that's the end of this episode. If you want to watch more Anime Explained videos, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, follow our Instagram page and join our WhatsApp group for the latest updates.